Hey everyone, I'm Alex.
And I'm Chloe. Welcome to our channel.
If you're learning English, you've probably memorized the grammar and have the vocabulary down. But are you ready for a real American conversation?
Right. For example, what do you do when a cashier you've never met asks, "How are you?" Are you supposed to tell them about your terrible morning? About your dog, your rent, the whole story?
Exactly. Textbooks don't prepare you for the unwritten rules of daily life in the States. So today, we're taking you through a typical day to explain the cultural stuff you actually need to know. We'll cover everything from greetings to tipping to what on earth to do at a party.
By the end of this video, you'll be navigating American culture like you were born here. Let's get this day started.
All right, first stop for many Americans, coffee. But this is also your first cultural test of the day. Watch and learn. Hey, how's it going? Could I get a large black coffee, please?
You got it. That'll be $3.50.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
You too.
Okay, let's break that down. Alex said, "How's it going?" Did you notice the barista didn't launch into a story about how her morning has been a disaster?
Exactly. In the US, phrases like, how are you? Or, what's up? Are basically just another way of saying hello. All you need is a short, positive response. Good, how are you? Or, doing well, thanks, is perfect. They're not actually asking for a detailed report on your life.
It's all part of what we call small talk. Americans often start these light, casual chats with people they don't know in places like a coffee shop or a grocery line. It's just a way to be friendly without diving into a deep conversation.
The trick is to keep it light. The weather is a classic topic for a reason. Sports, weekend plans, or a simple compliment are all safe bets. It's about showing you're approachable. But there are definitely some topics you want to avoid with strangers.
Oh, this is a big one. It's generally considered rude to ask people you've just met really personal questions. Things like their age, how much money they make, their religion, or who they voted for. Americans tend to value privacy, and those topics are saved for close friends and family.
Right? So, a friendly, how are you, is just a greeting. But asking about their salary, that's an intrusion. It's a subtle difference, but a really important one.
Okay, next up, I'm meeting Alex for lunch. We planned for noon, and it's 11:59. And if I know my friend? Yep, there he is. Right on time.
Punctuality. This is a huge deal in American culture. Being on time for appointments, meetings, and even just plans with friends is a sign of respect. It shows you value the other person's time.
If you are running late, even by just 5 or 10 minutes, the polite thing to do is send a quick text or call to let them know. Showing up late without a heads up can come across as pretty rude. Now, for a big casual party, it's normal to show up a little late. But for one-on-one plans or anything professional, on time is the only time.
Now, while we wait for our table, let's talk about another invisible rule. Personal space. See how people in line are leaving a little gap between them? That's not an accident.
Americans tend to like about an arm's length of space when they're talking to someone. If you get too close, you might see them do a little shuffle backward. Don't take it personally. It's not a rejection, just a cultural comfort zone.
This also applies to touching. A firm handshake is completely normal when you first meet someone in a professional setting. But randomly touching someone's arm or back during a conversation? That's usually reserved for people you know well. When in doubt, just keep your hands to yourself.
And speaking of lines, waiting your turn is a very, very big deal. Cutting in line is a major foul. The queue is sacred here.
All right, another thing you'll notice is how we talk to people, especially service staff. American communication is usually pretty direct, but it's wrapped in a layer of politeness. For the most part, people are expected to say what they mean.
So when the waiter comes over, you wouldn't just say, "I desire the burger." You'd make it a polite request like, "Could I please have the burger?" Or, "I'll take the burger. Thank you." Using please, thank you, and excuse me is constant and expected.
That directness is valued in regular conversations too. People appreciate when you get to the point, as long as you soften it with polite language so you don't sound like a jerk.
And look at this. That brings us to another classic American experience: gigantic portions. It's super common for restaurant meals to be way more than one person can finish.
Seriously, don't feel pressured to clean your plate. It is completely normal to ask for a to-go box to take your leftovers home. No one will think twice about it.
Okay, the moment of truth has arrived: the check. In many cultures, the person who did the inviting is expected to pay. But in the US, especially with friends, it's very common to go Dutch or split the bill.
It goes back to that cultural idea of independence. The default assumption is that everyone pays for themselves. Sometimes one person will offer to treat everyone, which is great, but you should never expect it. It's always safest to assume you're paying for what you ordered.
Okay, we've split the bill, but we are not done yet. We have to talk about one of the most confusing and important things for visitors: tipping.
And this is essential. In the United States, tipping your server at a sit-down restaurant isn't really optional. It's an expected part of the cost. The standard is 15% to 20% of the pre-tax bill. For great service, tipping 20% or even a little more is common.
Here's why it's so important. In many states, the minimum wage for servers and other tipped employees is much lower than the regular minimum wage. They actually rely on tips to make a living wage. So, not leaving a tip is seen as incredibly rude.
And it's not just for restaurants. Tipping is also the norm for other services. Bartenders, hairdressers, taxi and rideshare drivers, hotel housekeeping. The list goes on. The amounts might change, but the principle is the same.
Now, you might be seeing those payment screens with tip suggestions pop up everywhere, like at coffee shops or fast food counters. That's a newer thing, and the rules are more flexible there. A lot of Americans feel a little pressured by those, so tipping in those counter service situations is still discretionary. But for a sit-down meal with a server, that 15 to 20% is the standard.
A good rule of thumb is, if someone provided a personal service for you over a period of time, they probably expect a tip. If you can't afford the tip, you probably can't afford the service.
And to finish our day, we're headed to a friend's house for a casual get-together. This has its own set of rules. First thing, it's always a nice gesture to bring a small gift for the host.
It doesn't have to be fancy or expensive. A bottle of wine, a six-pack of craft beer, a dessert, or even a small plant are all perfect gifts when you go to someone's home. It's just a simple way of saying, "Thanks for having me."
Once you're inside, you'll see those conversation rules we talked about earlier. People will almost always use first names, even if they just met. It's a sign of American informality. Unless you're talking to a doctor or a professor in a very formal setting, first names are the way to go.
You'll also notice people moving between different conversation groups. It's totally fine to politely join a conversation. Just listen for a moment to get the vibe, and then chime in when it feels right.
And when you're ready to move on, you can use a simple exit line. Something like, "Well, it was great chatting with you. I'm going to go grab another drink." Or, "Excuse me, I'm going to go say hi to Sarah." It's not rude at all to mingle.
A party is also definitely not the time to ask a new acquaintance about their political views or how much their house cost. Stick to the safe topics: what they do for work, their hobbies, recent travels, or what movies and music they're into.
Exactly. The whole point of a party is just to have a good time and connect with people. Keeping the conversation light, positive, and respectful is the best way to do that.
And that's a wrap on our typical day in the USA. As you can see, there's a whole hidden layer of rules that guides how people interact.
From knowing "how are you" is just a way to say hello, to giving people their space, being on time, and navigating the tipping maze. These little things make a huge difference in feeling comfortable and making a good impression.
American culture can feel like a strange mix of being super casual, but also having these strict, unwritten rules. But most of it is built on simple ideas of independence, respecting other people's time, and general friendliness.
We really hope this guide helps you feel more confident on your next trip to the US. Now, we want to hear from you. What's the biggest culture shock you've ever had, either in the States or in another country?
drop it in the comments below. We love reading your stories. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next guide to real American culture. Thanks for hanging out with us.
See you next time.